Hello, everyone. It's Sunday evening. It's Mark Wilkinson. It's time for Ask Mark Anything. Life Remixed is a mere 9 days away. It's amazing. You have to sort of pinch yourself a little bit to think you've got a book coming out. It's quite a special thing, isn't it? And I'm buzzing about it. So 9 days until Life Remixed is released to the world. So that's all positive and all good. Last night we had 728 people join us last night online for the stream for the DJ mix. That's gathering momentum. It's wonderful to see, and we're building some beautiful people there, all chatting in the chat box, all feel like they know each other and connecting. It's wonderful, even in these challenging times. It's really, really cool. You can also see today that Mrs. Wilkie has given me a bit of a haircut. I think she's done great work. So thank you, Emma. It would have been bad, wouldn't it? A terrible haircut just before your book gets released. But anyway, it's all good. So it's Ask Mark Anything. It's Sunday evening. I've got quite a few questions and bits and pieces around me and things that have been sent in. It will be great to hear from you as well if you're watching or wherever you're watching from. Just pop your comments in, pop your your hellos and all that kind of stuff into your stream wherever you're watching it. It will turn up on my screen. If you want to put your name after it, then that's fine. If you haven't gone, I think it's to streamyard.com/Facebook, or perhaps the other way around, actually, facebook.com/streamyard. You just go there and authorize the app if you want to authorize the app. If you don't want to authorize the app, just put your name after it, right? So Sunday evening, Ask Mark Anything. And one of the things that I've been asked this week is, how do you manage overwhelm when you're running multiple businesses, and how do you manage that, that time and all those people and everything else? No one manages time ever. The time continues without us. Yeah, time just continues and continues, right? So no human being has ever managed time at all. What you do is you manage tasks, don't you? So I just make sure that I've got hours booked into my diary for each of my businesses throughout the week. I have important meetings when I need to have them. Now, you can have the meetings like this without having to fly anywhere or drive anywhere or anything. So, it's opened up a whole new world of being able to talk to people. So that's great. But you manage your hours, don't you? I mean, we all have the same amount of hours in the day, as I've said before. We have 17 hours when we're awake, roughly. Certainly in those 17 hours, we've got as much effort or as much time as anyone else. So it's about the energy that you put into it. So I really do focus. I just make sure that I'm focusing. So on one of our construction companies, right, I have to focus on that for a good few hours. That's done. Right. Then I have to focus on this. Right. That's done. Then I have to focus on this. And I've learned that focus. Whereas before I would feel overwhelmed and kind of like confused and not sure what was going on. I use a digital diary. I make all my notes. Anything that's in my mind, I make sure I put it out into my book or my diary, so that I understand what's going on and I can just keep up with everything, and it's working really well. So I highly recommend it for all of you guys, and just set your goals throughout the day. So right, okay, that's an important hour. I do get a lot of people, and as we're getting bigger and bigger and influencing more people and being more positive and more people, it's getting busier and busier all the time, right? So I think you've got to make sure that you prioritize the things that you must achieve. And from my perspective, very, very important to prioritize the things, obviously, around the book, around coaching, around the businesses, around obviously making time on Valentine's Day for my lovely wife. So it's all good stuff like that. But you've got to make sure you're prioritizing and putting everything down. And you've got to be really, really focused, book those hours. And also something I've had to learn just recently myself is to actually book an hour for lunch into my diary and an hour for dinner in the evening. Otherwise, they all get booked up as well and I end up not eating. So, so I think it's really, really important to make sure you manage exactly how you want things to be throughout the day. So I hope that helps. Question number 2. I've got about 4 tonight. If you want to pop any in the screen as well, I'm here for you, of course. Someone says, I've heard about learning to love yourself before others. But what does it mean and how do I do it? How do I practice it? That's a great question. So learning to love yourself before you learn to or can love others. It's a really interesting question, that. And actually on Tuesday evening this week, I will be doing chapter 13 of Life Remixed, which is called Now That We Found Love. It's really, really important that you understand what love is. And I ask a lot of people this when they come into coaching with me. I say, so what is love then? And I get some fascinating answers. I get some amazing answers about what is love. Because many people can't really answer it. And I found, as human beings, if we can actually articulate something, then we can work with it. But if we can't even articulate it, then we're going to struggle with it. So from my perspective, when you start talking about, learning to love the self, well, what is that? What is love to you? And I think it's a great question to ask yourselves. I've done a great deal of study on this. I've read a lot of books. Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life is an incredible book for that. Many of the Bob Proctor books, Kevin Green books, Tony Robbins books, all these kind of great books I've read. Excuse me. And but learning to love yourself, before others is so important. And one of the things that I've come up with, and you're going to read it in Life Remixed, and thank you everyone who's pre-ordered a copy. If you want a signed pre-ordered copy by me, then obviously you need to get your order in before the 22nd, I would say, because on the 23rd we'll go live across Amazon and across all the bookstores. And I won't see it. So if you order it, it will go straight to you, obviously. Whereas actually any of the pre-orders, I can get them to me, we can sign them, and then we can send them out. So if you do want a signed copy, of course, you never know, it could be worth something in the future, who knows. But what I would say is that just going back on point, so learning to love the self, I put this in Life Remixed, and for me, I had to understand what love really was. And when I could understand it, then I could sort of get my head around it. And I came up with 2 words for me, to understand fully what it is. For me, love is total acceptance. And it opens up a huge debate, because lots of people may not agree with that, or people will have their own opinion on that. And that's, of course, absolutely fine. We've all got opinions. For me, love is total acceptance really kind of explained it and then allowed me to work with it. Because once I could totally accept myself, and you have to start with yourself, you have to. You can't totally accept someone else without totally accepting yourself. And many people don't do it. Many people go through their lives, and they go to someone else for love, to please love me because it will make me better, and I think it's so important, when you actually get yourself to a point of inner peace, inner strength, inner love, inner total acceptance. When you get to that point, then all of a sudden, life just gets a lot easier. Would you like your life to be easier? Start with that. Start with total acceptance. It's very, very, very important, right? We've got Rick here. Excellent, Rick. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, Rick, a lot more. 100% look after yourself first. When you are well looked after, you have half a chance of being able to help others. That's exactly right. And you say be kind on your picture, mate. I love that. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Marcus says, hi Mark, I bought Life Remixed already. It will be signed, but yes, it will, Marcus. I will be sending signed copies out. We've ordered them, so they'll be arriving here hopefully in the next week or so, and then we'll be signing them. And I might have a bit of a pain in my hand there, but I'll be signing them all, and then we'll be posting them straight out. So you'll be getting them the week after. So it will be signed by myself. Even Hadaway had to ask, what is love? Yes, absolutely. Baby, don't hurt me. Yeah. But the point is that, I think it's so important to get into love and understand what it is before you can then be able to give that to someone else. So, if you want to fill yourself, or you've got to fill yourself up before you can give to somebody else. I made that mistake. I didn't love me when I was younger. I didn't love me. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I acted half the time. I didn't like, and I distracted myself with all kinds of stuff that you're going to read about. But the point is that, learning to love yourself first actually then gives you half a chance to be able to go on and actually do, as Rick says, it gives you half a chance to go on and do something meaningful. So practicing total acceptance is a really great thing to do. It gets you in touch with your higher self. It's a spiritual thing where you can actually be like, okay, this is me. This is how I look. This is my haircut today by the missus. I can be totally accepting of myself and be in a positive place. And once I can do that, and I had to do this, by the way, I was bankrupt and living in my mum's spare room. And I practiced this. I practiced like 12 years ago. I just got into total acceptance. I was doing a lot of running. So I was out running. I was almost like meditative state. And I just totally accepted me and my results and what was going on. Even the terrible stuff that took me down. I accepted it and went, okay, all right. So what's the message? What am I going to learn from this? And that total acceptance really started to manifest into really good things in my life. Now you have to ask yourselves watching this, do you totally accept yourself right now? If you don't, that's fine. It just means there's work to do, because many people will go through their whole lives, by the way, get to their deathbeds and still not have worked this out. So I like to gift it to you guys because I've worked it out and it feels great. And I want you to feel great because that's the mission, right? The mission is for you to feel great as well. So think about it. think about what I've said. Tuesday evening this week. So I do my regular schedule. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. is Monday motivation. So I'll be doing loads of motivation, getting you ready for the week. And Tuesday evening, I do Life Remixed the samples. So it's chapter 13 on Tuesday, and that is all about relationships and everything I've learned about relationships. And it's good. You're going to enjoy it. I know you're going to enjoy it. I recently helped a friend of mine who was having a bit of a struggle, and I gave him a few pointers, and it's almost like, all the problems have gone away. So it's beautiful. I love it. What I would say is that Wednesday morning as well, I've got another Well Done Wednesday at 8 a.m. And then Wednesday evening, I must tell you that I've got the UK Soulful House Mafia, that I've dubbed them that. But I've got Craig Bartlett, Lee Wright, and Andy Ward all joining me from Leeds, Birmingham, and Cardiff, although Andy's in Spain. But all those three lads are going to join me on Wednesday evening for Straight Talking as well. So that's going to be brilliant. Look, I mean, hopefully that's a bit of good stuff about learning to love yourself, because that's really where you're going to get yourself to a point of being able to start, because when you can really love you, then you can really totally accept somebody else. It may not be all, fireworks and everything, but total acceptance is actually a really beautiful way to live. I wish it for all of you guys, because it's a wonderful thing to do. Right, I've got a couple more questions here as well. I would say that if you've got questions as well, love the input and everything. If you've got more stuff you want to put in there, but if you've got any questions, obviously about Life Remixed or indeed music and DJing, as I said, 728 people online with us last night, which was really, really something. We're going for the 1,000. We're going for the 1,000 online. That'd be amazing. Next Saturday, maybe, or the Saturday after. Let's see. So anyway, okay, here's another question. What's your advice to anyone experiencing a disease? Well, wow. I mean, what a question. There's many diseases in the world. We've come up with names for hundreds of them, I expect, if not thousands. And a disease is something you must hyphenate. I heard this for the first time, 15 years ago when Bob Proctor said it in The Secret. But you've got to hyphenate the word disease. You've got to hyphenate disease. So it's not a disease. A doctor will tell you it's a disease. And many doctors are good people, really good people, and they're going to say things like, "Well, it wasn't your fault. It's in your genes, you're just going to get it, predisposed to get it," which the doctor said to me about a disease, by the way, an incurable disease. They did a great job for me. They gave me some good medication, and they helped me get me back on my feet, which I'm absolutely over the moon about, of course, because that means I can stand up and do 4.5 hours of DJ mix last night. And if you want to hear it back, just go to mixcloud.com/Mark Wilkinson official. Halfin's saying 10,000 by the summer. Yes, mate. Yes, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? And Guy's saying beautiful session last night. Thank you, Guy. It was a beautiful session. I loved it. I'm sure you guys all loved it. It was really great, and it's there to listen back on Mixcloud. I put it up first thing in the morning once I'm up after the night before. I love doing it. I love it. It's amazing. Just being able to reach people through music and through these talks and everything is amazing. So diseases and diseases. The first time I heard that, I was like, what? It was really difficult for me to kind of get my head around, because I thought I was fine. Stressed? No, I was fine. Partying, that's all right. It's just part of it. Everyone else does it, so it must be all right. I was making mistakes left, right, and centre. The whole disease thing came about because I was stressed, and I probably didn't see a green vegetable for about 15 years. I definitely didn't drink enough water. I didn't look after myself very well at all, as well as all the addictions and bad habits. I'm surprised I managed to keep going as long as I did, to be honest. But by the time I was 33, that's when I collapsed. And it was the start of something. It was the start of something, pretty hellish experience for a few years, unfortunately, just for me and for people around me. It wasn't nice for anybody. But it was really, really, really important to understand it and then start to work with it. Because when someone doctor says you've got a disease, and then you start to look into some of this stuff, and there's great books. You Can Heal Your Lives over there, The Secret. Great books on health. Think and Grow Rich as well, believe it or not, has a lot about your mental and physical health in there as well. You've got to be strong to be able to be effective in this world. So the first thing, if anyone's diagnosed with any kind of disease or any kind of thing that's a problem for you, then you've got to take some medication if you need to. If it's an acute situation, take the medication, of course, but start to investigate what happens with your mind and start to understand about your mind. And we do a lot of that when we go into coaching people and helping people with that. Paul's online. Excellent, Paul. Great to have you here, mate. 720 streaming, but it could be 1,500 to 2,000 listening. You're right. You're absolutely right, of course, because I know there's a nice family of, I think, is it 3 or 4 of you in there at your house. So, yeah, of course, that's brilliant. Yeah, and the streams are amazing and the buzz is rising. And, yeah, it's stretching me, It's stretching me to do 4 or 5 hours DJ set a week. So mixing it up, buying new tunes. I love it, by the way. It's, set yourself a goal and get on with it. And so, it's stretching me to find new music. But I also like to play a lot of the classics and keep everyone smiling. And we're getting a lot of joy. I heard a great story last night about a family, couple of families where there's been some struggles and people started responding and partying and yeah, some of the dancing videos we got are amazing. So big love to all of you. Here he is. Alan's here. Excellent. Hello, Alan. Thanks for your input on Friday as well. Jenna and Vicky and I really enjoyed that on Friday with your input. Excellent to have you on board, Alan. Thanks for being here, mate. So yeah, and then here's the last question I've got at the moment. If you've got any more questions, by the way, just fire them in. Actually, just going back slightly. No, we can keep going because this is relevant to the next question. So I got a question in the week said, where do I get inspiration if I run out of creative ideas? Not possible. Not possible that you will run out of creative ideas because at the end of the day, all you've got to do, I'm reading Bob Proctor's book here, You Were Born Rich. It's another one, international bestseller, as it says. The first principle in anything. And by the way, he says, I love the fact he's endorsed Life Remixed, by the way. But he says, you were born rich. Most people are just a little bit short of money, which is quite a good one, right? But the first principle, and this is obviously to get inspiration if you need creative ideas and stuff like that. Relax and see yourself already in possession of the good that you desire, and then just let go. That's a great one, right? Of course, what will happen is you'll start to get some creative juices flowing and things will start going, and then you've got to take some action, right? But don't start, berating yourself for not taking action because that's making it worse. So the first principle is to relax and see yourself already in possession of the good that you desire. I know the life I'm creating. The life I've created today is the life I created 10 to 12 years ago in my mind. And so the life I'm creating in 10 to 15 years' time, I'm already creating that in my mind right now. And so you can do it, anyone can do it. It's a creative process, and human beings, we've been gifted a marvelous mind to be able to do something with it. So I think it's really, really important to get yourself focused on that, because if you feel like you're running out of creative ideas, it's because your mind's taken over. Relax your mind, clear your mind. People call I'm not a big one for long meditations. I like buzzing and exciting. I can get a bit bored, trying to do a long meditation and stuff like that. It's not really for me. But I do love just to clear my mind for a couple of minutes. And another beauty, I love to exercise. And it's been so cold that I haven't been able to exercise, and the gyms have been shut and all that stuff. But tomorrow afternoon, it says it's going to be 14 degrees about lunchtime tomorrow. I shall be on my bicycle tomorrow for an hour around my lunchtime. I'm out because I need to burn off some of that Christmas stuff. Mark's got a question here. Here we go. Mark's saying, how do you get enough time in the day to do everything? All these online talks, all the different businesses, sorting tunes out. Yeah, thanks, Mark, for noticing. Really appreciate it. I think it's how I got the time to write a book, to be honest. I was working hard. I was working really, really hard in the corporate world, doing like 60, 70 hours a week sometimes. And it was tough. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm not on Wi-Fi, and I don't know why it does that. Strange. I hope the stream is okay. StreamYard brings up Wi-Fi, and I've got the Wi-Fi off and I'm attached with cables. But anyway, so Mark, thanks for noticing. Kind of covered a little bit of that a bit earlier, but listen, no one manages time, you just manage tasks. So at the end of the day, I blocked my diary out. So if I needed to sort out some tunes yesterday, I sat down for 3 hours yesterday afternoon, blocked out my diary and just went, right, music, right. Pulled loads of music together, had a big spend up on track source. And that was great. That was great, you know. And then last night's DJ set turned into 4.5 hours. This afternoon, I've been doing a DJ mix for Beach Radio, preparing that for them. And then I've been working on the Life Remixed program that I'm putting together. And you'll hear more about that soon, but I'll mention it. Basically, I'm going to put together 5 days to remix your life in March, and you're all invited. So that'll be great. So yeah, but the point is that yeah, these lives are easy for me now, Mark, because I've studied so much. I've studied so much about how to be happy, how to be successful, how to be, you know, in a good place. And I want to share it with you because it works. You know, if my old mate Lofty from the record shop, if any of you saw the interview with the first one with the Flying Records, some of the Flying Records boys, if my old mate Lofty can turn around to me and say to me, all this stuff you're doing, Wilkes, it really works, right? If he can say that to me, honestly, anyone can do it. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, and he knows it, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see that Lofty's grasping a lot of the stuff I've been talking about, and he's buzzing. Life is good, you know. So it's important. It's important stuff, and you can keep moving forward. All you've got to do is manage those tasks. So multiple businesses. You know, tomorrow morning I've got multiple meetings in the morning. I've booked out 2 hours so that I can go for a cycle around lunchtime, and then go for some lunch, and then the afternoon's all busy as well. We all have about 17 hours in the day we're awake. You have to ask yourself, how are you spending that time? How focused are you? How much do you want it? Because trust me, when you're on your ass with nothing, no money, poor health, you know, you're in a bad way. When you're there, you want it bad, right? Because otherwise it's like jump off a bridge time. So I had to go for it. But many people just malaise, you know, just like, you know, and you know, I used to spend so much time watching football. I'm hardly watching. I mean, I watch Chelsea tomorrow night, but most of the time I'm not watching. I'm not watching loads of the Premier League or anything because I'm busy. I'm too busy. I've got too much stuff, too much other stuff going on. But I love every second of it. I really do. I really do. I got asked recently, do I get time to enjoy stuff? I enjoy everything, every minute. You know, it's great. Yeah, I'd love a holiday, but I enjoy every minute of what's going on. So hopefully that helps, Mark. Paul Newman's here. Paul's just saying, hey, Mark. Excellent. Thanks, Paul. Great to have you here. Good to hear that you're upbeat. I'm always upbeat. I am happy. And life is beautiful. Everything works out. And it can for you. I know it's tough times for some. But you know what? It's about how you frame it in your mind. This is a difficult thing. If I've got a piece of advice for many of you, if you haven't done it before, it's entry-level stuff. Go and watch The Secret on Netflix. Watch it tonight. You know, it's very American, but you know what? It's amazing. It's amazing. It works. You know, it does work. And I'm living, breathing evidence of that. As I mentioned, this Wednesday, I've got the UK Soulful House Mafia that I've dubbed them. Lee Wright from Leeds, Andy Ward from Birmingham, and Craig Bartlett from Cardiff. The following 2 weeks, I've got 2 female powerhouses joining me on Straight Talking. Peggy McColl's coming back. She's going to be talking about savvy wisdom and her latest book. She's written 19 books. So Peggy's coming back to give us her wisdom. And also the following week, I've got Marcy Shimoff from The Secret. 300 million copies. And Marcy Shimoff was one of the main contributors. And she's going to be joining me the following Wednesday. And the Wednesday after that, I might go back to the Flying Records Massive and get a part 3 up as well. So look, it's all good, right? It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So, you know, you've got to keep smiling, keep going. And don't let your mind win, you know, don't let the negative stuff, negative thoughts and feelings, don't let them win, you know, don't let them rob you of your joy and your happiness. Here we go. So, Dave, is your visualization something you take time out of your day to do, or is it a more organic process when you naturally drop in and out throughout the week? Do you know what? I think it's the second option, Dave. I don't force anything. Yeah, I read a universal law, which you'll read about in Life Remixed. There's a universal law that says force negates. If you're trying to force something to happen, it's negative. It will just end up being negative. You don't need to force anything. I'm not suggesting you are, by the way, but you don't need to force that. You know, I block the times in my day. For instance, when I'm out on my bicycle, I'll have my tunes pumping, probably listening back to the mix. I'll have my tunes pumping, and I'll be thinking creative thoughts about, right, okay, what we're doing next? What's the next thing? And I've got a big visualization for the next 12 months. And I've got a huge visualization for the next 5 years. You know, I'm grateful enough to wake up every morning, you know, and have those years, we hope, right? The same as everybody. So, you know, I think it's really, really important. So I naturally drop in and out. In fact, just before I came on this call, I was writing out my questions. I was looking at a few books. I was getting myself nice and organized. And I just had 2 minutes to myself and just pictured myself and Emma relaxing, you know, back at the beach, you know, just having a good time. I can see the house we're going to live in. Yeah, you know, it's all good. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. You know, we'll still have all the things that we want here in London, and we'll have other things outside of, you know, in other parts of the world. That's what we're growing. That's what we're working on. And you know, you can do it. Nothing is impossible, you know, and nothing is good or bad, by the way. Nothing is good or bad except our thinking makes it so. That can be a challenge for many people, what I just said. But nothing is good or bad except for what our thinking decides it is. And our thinking comes from ingrained belief systems. And we have to look at our belief systems and say, well, where have they come from? You know, where have those beliefs come from? And are they serving us? You know, I had a lot of beliefs that came into my life from a young age, and many of them didn't serve me. You know, a lot of it, you could look back to the lack mentality after the Second World War. You can look at that rationing and everything. It's never enough. Oh, it's not enough. Oh, my God. You know, that kind of stuff. I grew up with all of that. You know, I grew up with all of that. But it's okay. That's what happened. You know, the world is Michael Beckwith in The Secret says that the world has taken a nightmare pill, that it's not enough. There's not enough. You know, what we're going to do, it's not enough for everybody. Well, you know, that's rubbish. There is enough for everybody. We can all exist together. We can all help each other. Trisha's here. Lovely. Excellent. What's Trisha saying? Always love your happy, positive energy. I want you all. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I want you all to be as happy as I am, you know. I faced my greatest fears, moved past them, and now I'm like, they're gone. What's next? You know, and that positivity is something that you know, I've learned and I've studied, but I've learned off intelligent people, by the way. And all I've done is immersed myself in information and got myself as far down the track as I possibly can. In fact, you look at your profile picture. You must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. Oh, that's very good. Who's that? Marianne Williamson. I love that. Yeah, we've all got to do it. We've all got to master new ways of thinking. If your life is not exactly as you would like it to be right now, so unless you're some sort of like Buddhist multimillionaire sitting, you know, in a beach with houses all over the world, then perhaps your life is not exactly as you would like it to be, right? So why not? Well, it's because of the way we think. Right, let's move on. Here we go. Mark said, cheers, Mark. Life is beautiful since I gave up the beer, and a really positive outlook to life. Well done. Yeah, alcohol, you know, look, Tony Robbins calls alcohol the product of decay, because it is, isn't it? It's decayed, fermented stuff that we put into our body, and it kills brain cells straight away. Now, thankfully, our body can regenerate, but if we there's a tipping point. There's a tipping point with alcohol, and I went way over it. Oh God, I went way over the tipping point with alcohol, to a point where my body just went, nope, you're done, on the floor, mate. And other stuff as well, of course, but you know, that didn't help. But yeah, music is a healer. Music is beautiful. You know, and I actually feel music again now that I felt like when I was like 6 years old. And you might see that I have this kind of like childlike kind of energy, which I'm not worried about. I love it. It's great. You know, I think many of us, you know, as we grow up, we get in our own way. We're actually, you know, if you look at a child is like, you know, just loving life and inquisitive and like, what's this? You know, and we go, oh, it's well, because you're just playing. But you ask a child to have a vision, right, of their life, and they will do it. Yeah, they'll do it because they haven't got any other this crap that they've learned as we've got older, right? So, yeah, it's a good state to get back into. Let's put it that way. But yeah, you got to watch out for alcohol, because alcohol, you know, a bit of a poison, really. If you, in moderation, it's up to you. You know, I'm not here to say yay or nay or anything like that, but you know, it's your call. But you do have to think about it. That is it a good thing, healthy thing that's really going to help me? It might take the pain away for a little while, but is it really going to, you know, when you wake up the next morning, your head might be throbbing a bit. So well done, Marcus. Well done, mate. Well done. Here we go. Mark, when giving up alcohol, how did you find going into pubs? Well, that was interesting, because I was never really a big sort of pub kind of guy. So I was very much into nightclubs, music, because that's, well, music, girls, dancing, that was great. That was what I was all about. I loved that. So the alcohol and everything that went along with that was just part of it. So I never really sort of went into, I was never really a big pub goer anyway. I've got a beautiful, comfortable space in my house that I can spend with someone I love, and we can relax, and we've got a big telly and stuff like that, So my point is that I don't really go into pubs. But what I would say is, what I found, this is quite interesting, the law of attraction, when you start to make some changes in your life, the law of attraction states that like attracts like, and it's actually on a vibratory level. So it's actually the law of vibration is like the next step up. And you vibrate, if you want to go in a pub, you're sitting in a pub, you're drinking alcohol, and that's what you enjoy doing, but you'll be with people on the same vibration. And when you make that change, you say, actually, I'm not gonna take that toxin or that poison or that product of decay or whatever, or just whatever. I'm just not going to drink that today or for a while or forever. What you find is that you start to vibrate basically on a different level, and you're just no longer attracted to that crowd and that scene necessarily. I think it's just an important point. You can only sit there for so long after someone's told you the same story for the 5th time. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Slurring and all over the place. It's in the end. Alan, the absolute answer to that is, I'm still fun. I think I'm still a fun guy. I'm still fun. I still like to enjoy my life. I like to do lots and lots of stuff, right? And I'm a big buzzing person who loves music and loves energy and loves all of you and everything else, right? I'll be out and about, and I'll go to football, or I'll go to a pub, or I'll do whatever it is that I want to do. But by about 9 p.m, I'm generally done. I'm like, see you later, chaps. You know what I mean? Or I'm off. Whatever. Unless it's a music gig and we can stay later and that kind of stuff. But when it's just people in pubs and stuff like that, when it gets to a certain level, I'm like, that's it. I'm done, chaps. I'll see you later. And it's okay. They don't miss me. I'm all good. I wake up fresh the next day, get up and get going. Right. So Alan's giving me the pump fist there. I love that. Dave's saying, when you give up alcohol, you'll naturally find you gathered towards other people who don't drink. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Dave. That's exactly right. It's for me, I had to give up alcohol. It wasn't I'll choose to do it. I used to drink to get drunk, and I used to drink to take the pain away, and I used to drink to distract myself. Because I didn't really like myself. So I'm putting poisons in and toxins and, and being all crazy and everything for many, many years. And guess what? It took its toll, right? But I had to. There was no, my body was so inflamed that it was like, when a doctor tells you you've got an inflammation, when you've got an inflammatory disease in your body, and then a doctor tells you that, yeah, what's the worst thing you could put in? Only like the most toxic substance known to human beings, like alcohol. I'd be crazy. I'd be self-destructive. There's just no point. So I was like, that's it. You've had 15, 17 years of that. In fact, more than that, probably nearer 20 years of alcohol and partying. I made a party last for 20 years, right? But it self-destructed me in a big way. And I wasn't even aware of it at the time. Paul's just saying, great words, mate. Makes total sense. Thanks, mate. You knew me. You've known me since I was like 14 or something, Paul, right? I didn't. I just thought it was a good laugh and just hanging out with the chaps and all that, and I thought it'd be great. And I just kept going. And it was only, my friend calls the dis-ease that I ended up with, and the bankruptcy off the back of it and everything else. He describes that as nature's handbrake, because it was, it was like, stop, listen to what's going on. And you're going to meet Brian Miller. I haven't brought Brian Miller into this because currently you probably say, well, who? But Brian Miller is like Yoda to my Luke Skywalker, if you like. Brian is an incredible guy. And you're going to meet him. I'm going to bring him onto a call at some point in March or April. I'll bring him in because you'll all have read the stories in the book and everything else. But you're going to love Brian. Incredible man. And it was him. He was the one who just basically got hold of me. He was the masculine voice I needed at that moment to say, sort yourself out, man. because I was still acting like a little kid, really, even in my mid-30s. So there we go. Lots of questions, lots of answers. I'm going to be back at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be looking at some Monday motivation at 8 a.m. We're going to look a bit more about It's Not About the Money with Bob Proctor. It's a great book. It really isn't about the money, It's about enjoying your life, and money comes when you enjoy yourself. So that's the key. So I'll be back at 8 a.m. tomorrow. 7:30 p.m. We're going to be looking at relationships on Tuesday for Life Remix samples. Wednesday morning, well done Wednesday, I'll be back on with some chat. And then Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m, the UK Soulful House Mafia, or 3 of them anyway. I'm sure we'll find more in the future. But Andy, Craig, and Lee are all going to join me online. That's going to be hilarious. Yeah, and it's all good. And then Saturday evenings, of course, we're doing the DJ mixes. You can listen back to any of those at Mark Wilkinson Official. Sorry, mixcloud.com/Mark Wilkinson Official. If you want a signed book, you've only got about a week to get that order in. If you want a signed book, get that order in at markwilkinsonofficial.com, and we'll get them signed and out to you, which is going to be great. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. It's a busy schedule. There's a lot going on in life. It's happy days. However, it's time for me to go and spend some time with Mrs. Wilkie. Have a bit of dinner, watch a film, relax for the evening before I'm back here with you guys at 8 a.m. So have a wonderful evening. Keep remixing your lives. Big love. Cheers, guys. See you later.